I decided to make this video because I sat down yesterday and I thought to myself, man, there are so many different ways I could have envisioned my future at this point, and none of them where I'm at right now. And to kind of elaborate a little bit, there are some things I regret not doing in my life, and one major one was a talent that I've always had since I was little. I've been doing this talent since I was probably 6, maybe 5 years old, and I just stopped a few years ago, like went cold turkey and completely stopped. And I guess there is some story to it. But it's kind of sad looking back at that and going like, man, I don't, I have a wasted talent pretty much. But I was thinking about bringing it back in some way, shape, or form on the channel. But that talent, for those that are curious, is drawing. Now, a lot of you guys who have been following me for a while may or may not know that I love to draw, and I'm really good at it, really good at it. And in fact, the logo to this channel was drawn by me. I like doing cartoons, I like drawing real people, but I like to stick to drawing cartoons because I feel like it's a lot more creative, and it's a lot more inviting in my opinion. So I started drawing when I was 6. I loved watching anime and stuff like that. Well, Dragon Ball Z at the time, which I didn't know was an anime. And I remember trying to draw what I saw on TV, but it kept turning out to be a stick figure. I would show it to my mom. My mom would be like, "Oh, it looks really good," and I'm like, "Are you sure? This doesn't look like what's on the TV. Like, I just only know how to draw stick figures." And she would lie to me and tell you that it was like really good and stuff like that, and it made me angry because I'm like, that does not look like what I see on TV. So of course, I would go to school. I would try to find people who knew how to really draw for real, and had them teach me how to draw like faces, hands, whatever. And as I got older, I started drawing all the time. Like the amount of artwork I would put out a day almost mirrored the amount of videos I post on YouTube now. There was a point in time where I was drawing like 20, 30 pictures a day, penciling them in, inking them, coloring them, and putting them in this big folder. A few events happened that kind of pushed me from doing art. One major event, my mom and I got into a huge argument. It wasn't really an argument. I guess I got in trouble for doing something. Maybe it wasn't doing the dishes or some chore or whatever. But the punishment for that was my mom went in my room and she grabbed my folder. I had like 200 or 300 different drawings that I made up to that point, from like when I was a little kid up until when I was like maybe like 12 or something. And she threw them all out. And it took a giant chunk of my soul because I put everything I had into those drawings. I know for a lot of people that doesn't really mean anything, but it tore me apart because I'm like, damn, like I got to start from scratch. So I doubled down and I drew even more. I was making comic books and stuff at the time. I drew a lot of other pictures and sketches and stuff. And 2 years later, another argument ensued. And while I was at school, my mom took my art stuff, my art supplies, and threw those out, threw out all my comic books, threw out all my drawings. I had absolutely nothing. And I was burnt out. I decided to just not draw for a while. So that's what happened. I didn't draw for 4 years after that happened. Granted, my living situation was entirely different after that. And I decided to revisit it once I joined the military. It was fun. I loved it. I was drawing all the time, filling up different sketchbooks and stuff like that, finally getting back in the swing of things. And then I don't know what happened. I guess I just got demotivated. I was drawing pictures for a lot of people, and it got to the point where I just wasn't passionate about it anymore. I don't know, like I was trying to find a way to monetize what I was doing, like do commissions or whatever, but I don't know. I did not know how that world worked. So of course for me, I just kind of like left that talent on the wayside. And it's sad because I remember in like, first grade when I was like 6 years old, and even like all the way up until high school, every single person that knew me thought that I was going to be this big artist, this big public figure that did art and stuff like that when I was, this age, just fucking drawing pictures for people and doing animations. I did get into animating as well. Like I told you guys, the very first YouTube channel I ever made was an animation channel. And it did really well until my parents made me delete that as well. So I don't know. I just wanted to talk about this because it's something that has been on my mind. And honestly, an announcement possibly to bring that to this channel because I love to draw. I know I do a lot of like learning German and this, that, the third, and just other languages and reacting to a lot of things and talking about different slices of my life. But I figured maybe it's time to bring like that to the channel. I haven't drawn seriously in a while, but art to me is one of those things that you never forget. You know how to do it. It just takes a lot of like inspiration and things of that nature. But I don't know. I wanted to find a way to apply that to this channel. I thought like for a small second, maybe I could do a you know, like drawing like YouTubers that I've reacted to before, or like, you know, some what if scenarios, make like little animation skits or some shit like that. I think that would be really funny. But I don't know. We'll figure it out in the future. I just didn't want that to be a waste, because I remember my dad, my dad and my mom both are very good artists. Like, they're very talented artists and stuff like that, but they do entirely different things than draw. But they can draw really well. And if they wanted to make a living off of it, I'm pretty sure they could. But what I found was very unfortunate was the fact that they had this ability, and it was pretty much gone to waste, because none of them drew ever again after they, you know, became adults and life kind of hit them. And for me, I'm like, man, I should probably tap back into artwork. It's interesting. I just know that, like, you know, doing stuff like that, people are like, yeah, do what you love, and things like that. I don't know. Art to me is very, it's very personal sometimes, you know, like you draw something and like you just get attached to your own artwork a little bit. And then it's not like I'm a Picasso or anything, but I definitely know that my art is good, you know, and I'm proud of it. And when I look at it, I'm like, damn, like I did that. That's nice, you know. But not everybody feels the same way. So where I wouldn't feel so, you know, I don't care about like negative criticism in other areas, most areas, to be honest. With art, I found myself getting very defensive if anybody had anything negative to say about it. So I'm just like, dang. But I don't know. This opens up the floor to you guys. Is there a talent that you guys have that you guys haven't tapped into just because you haven't had time, or people were being very discouraging, or maybe you got tired of it? I think for me, it was a mix of a bunch of things. It wasn't that I got discouraged, because I knew I still know to this day that I'm better than most people when it comes to drawing. But it's the lack of motivation. There's no motivation, honestly, to draw anything. Whenever I draw something, it's normally to make fun of somebody, or just to kind of pass the time, to doodle or whatever. But it requires a lot of time to crank out one picture, and I want to do so much in the time frame that it takes to draw one photo. So it's interesting. Just want to hear what you guys' thoughts and feelings are for that in the comments down below. But that's a section of me that I'll always have, and I hope I'm able to apply that to this community and stuff in some way, shape, or form. But we'll see. We'll have to see. That's pretty much it. See ya.